joined now with with a very known Democratic Assembly member, City Council member, has a long history. He's from the Bronx, very proud to be from the Bronx, via San Juan, Puerto Rico. But he's someone who actually has, you know, it's interesting. For Jose Rivera, Assemblyman Jose Rivera, who knows city politics, knows state politics, knows how it works, the legislature functions here, and what's on the agenda for 2015. You just came from the Democratic conference that was held this afternoon. It started around 6:30, later than you guys usually, you gentlemen and ladies actually started, but it was the Democratic conference in which, no surprise here, Assemblyman Shelley Silver was reelected as Speaker of the New York State Assembly, the majority being by Democrats. So how did that go? Was there any opposition to Shelley Silver, the Speaker, or was it just a pro forma and you guys just went along and voted for him?
Silver has been around us for some 20 years as the Speaker, and I guess it's fair for me to say, to be honest, if it's not broken, why change it?
Oh, I see.
All right?
Okay.
So he was voting as Speaker unanimously. And
that was the approach. If it's not broken, why fix it?
that's the way.
Okay.
And I usually say, here we go again, hire Silver away.
Okay. Now let me ask you, before we get into the remembrance of Mario Cuomo, on this day, you know, he stole the spotlight from his son on the inauguration of his second term. The legislative session, he cut into your guys, you know, with the performance there, so everybody was down in his funeral mass, and everybody went to the wake also. Before we get in, there's some new members. Some of them you know. One from, you know, talk about upstate, downstate. A fellow Brooklynite, a person from Brooklyn known in the politics also. His name is Charles Barron. Now, Charles has been known in the city council for being very outspoken. I consider him a black nationalist. Nothing wrong with that. He understands this is a guy who used to talk about all kinds of things and bluntly in representing his district in Brooklyn. How did Charles Barron, in his first session of Democratic Conference, how did he behave, or I should say, how did he conduct himself? Was he a part of the process? Did he? You said unanimous, so he voted for Silver also.
One of the things that I remember is that he gets up at one point, he says, I have a feeling you're all going to wish my wife was back, but you got me instead.
That being Inez Barron, who is now in the city council,
yeah.
City council member Inez Barron.
He introduced himself, and he sort of shared with everyone what he hopes to accomplish while he serves his constituent up here from Albany. And tomorrow we will see, I believe, Charles Barron in action.
By the way, for those of us who at City and State TV in this live stream, to understand, Charles Barron was a candidate, one of the fringe candidates with a party that ran against the sitting governor, Andrew Cuomo, and there was a primary. I think there was 5, 6, 7 candidates in 2010, and he really had to go at it in the one debate they had. But so that's the context that he understands who Andrew Cuomo is. In a certain way, I think he's respectful but not afraid of Andrew Cuomo. So it's going to be an interesting legislative session. So
I think it's going to be interesting in my view. And part of the reason why I'm sitting here next to you is because I want to take my hats off to you and City of State, because your participation in Somos El Futuro in the Bronx. I have a desire, and I hope that that's the case, that Somos El Futuro will at some point go back to its original mission, which is to try to help to empower Latinos, get them involved in the process throughout the entire state of New York. We are a very important part of the population, and most of the time we're even taken for granted by our own Democratic Party. And so I look forward, and I believe that city and state will play a role in reporting, as I believe they will.
Well, we have been, and we're going to do it, and we have an interest. And I tell you that the commitment from City and State New York and from City and State TV and all the coverage and the different platforms we have is exactly to do that. I did not come specifically as a Puerto Rican Latino, but rather to help in covering the entire state from a political vantage point. My years have given me a little bit of experience. I have a lot of young, dedicated people around me, and I'm looking forward to it. I want to ask you about Mario Cuomo. Now, you know Mario Cuomo for a long time. You've been supportive of him. You had disagreements with him. And people have paid all kinds of accolades to him and said wonderful things about him. And also, you know, some have criticized also his ways. But there's something that I found out that, if you want to share it, an anecdote in terms of his funeral. You went to the funeral yesterday, and everybody, I mean, there were lines like extended for 5 blocks. But I understand that you got on the line and you were waiting, and somehow you wound up in it. But there were people coming in and dignitaries. What happened when a certain governor from a nearby state came in? There was something that happened that I understand that Andrew Cuomo actually, you made him smile, you made him laugh.
If you allow me, first of all, one of the things that I shared with our governor was a copy of a full page in El Diario La Prensa, December 1982, where both the governor, Mario, and I, we had our hands raised in victory because he won and I won. He as governor, me as the assemblyman.
And that was the first time you were elected?
Yes, that was the first time, to the assembly. And I want to share with you that year, the entire Bronx Democratic Party was behind Mario's opponent. I was not. I broke rank. I told Norman Adler, who was the campaign manager, was a political director for DC 37. I said, I believe in Mario. I'm going to join you.
What made you weren't holding office. You're an organizer. You were part of the taxi drivers movement when the Gypsy was, they were called then. What attracted to Mario Cuomo? What was the attraction there?
I'm sure you recall that one of the things that got Mario into the limelight, the spotlight, was the controversy around housing in Forest Hills, Queens, okay?
The Fighting 69.
Yes, he made a name for himself. He stood his ground, and I saw what this young man dared to stand up and be heard. But more than that, when he started campaigning, one thing is rarely, if ever, mentioned about Mario, he was a great communicator. He would come into the Latino Puerto Rican community, and he was not a Michael Bloomberg. And with all due respect of Bill de Blasio, who are rehearsing or practicing how to speak Spanish, Mario actually spoke fluent Spanish. He used to come into us. I once asked him, where did you learn your Spanish? I speak fluent broken English, but you speak fluent Spanish. And he said, Jose, I understand Latino. While in school, my first girlfriend was Puerto Rican. I think her name was Consuelo.
Consuelo. All right. So you go from there. So that's what attracted you to this candidate who run for governor. You both got people got wise. They elected you as an assemblyman. For the first time, they elected him governor. Fast forward to all the years, and we can't go through so many good experiences, bad experiences, some problems you had. But yesterday at the funeral, you waited online. There was a tremendous outpouring of recognition.
I and a friend of ours, Mike Nieves, waited for some 2 hours. And it was slow in the making, going into the funeral home. And when I approached the governor, I noticed he was being hugged by the governor from the other side of the river.
That being?
Governor Christie.
Governor Christie from New Jersey.
So I said to Andrew, it came out of me. I said, Governor, now I know why there was so much tie up or traffic. I had to wait 2 hours. Governor
But-
Christie.
But you were talking about the line. You were
was-
talking about the line
the line,
outside.
yeah.
But you
I-
threw in the whole
I
thing
threw
about.
it in. I said, it seemed like traffic is tied up from here to Washington Bridge. You know what I mean?
So
I said something like that.
Did he laugh?
The governor, I made him laugh. And at a sad moment like that, he really burst out laughing.
Good for him. Good for you.
Christie was next to me, and so he overheard part of the conversation.
As you begin this legislative session, I leave you with this exit question. What is the one thing that the Democrats, current Democrats in New York State, should take with them, should be the takeaway from that man that was buried today, that leader, that Democratic leader, thinker, intellect? What should you all take?
Let me go back to your question, because maybe I should have added this. One of the things that got us to be close to Mario is the fact that he understood the meaning of empowerment for a community. What do I mean? He was the first, to my knowledge, especially governor, who appointed Tony Burgos from East Harlem, a young political activist from East Harlem, as his special assistant. That is empowering. Today, Tony Burgos is in the private sector, and he creates jobs. The other thing that the governor did, he gave us at that time, very important, as the commissioner for social services, Cesar Perales. And strange, irony of life, Cesar has been around for 34 years. I'm around 34 years with both Mario and Andrew.
So the good takeaway is to not only talk the talk, but walk the walk.
He surely did that.
Thank you, Assemblyman Jose Rivera, and the special coverage and live streaming of City and State TV. Wish you luck on the legislative session. Te veo en el Bronx.
I look forward to seeing you guys.
¿Cómo no?